Singapore Changi Airport. Status information Charlie. Time 1605 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 21. Temperature 25. Dew point 23. QNH 1013. Remarks: no intersection departures. No pattern work. Gate hold in effect. No light aircraft accepted at this time. Multiple frequencies in use. Landing runways 20 right and 20 center. Expect ILS approach. Departing runways 20 right and 20 center. Contact approach on 120. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee is 24 nautical miles north of Karaman at 30,600 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Singapore 509 Heavy, turn left heading 230, maintain 5,000, maintain 5,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 center approach. Turn left heading 230, maintain 5,000, maintain 5,000 until established on the localizer, Cleared ILS runway 20 center, Singapore 509 heavy. North Star 002 November Victor, maintain 160 knots until 4-mile final. Maintain 160 knots until 4-mile final, North Star 002 November Victor. Oscar Oscar Juliet Delta Lima, turn left heading 260. Cathay 635, turn right heading 190. Turn left heading 260, Oscar Oscar Juliet Delta Lima. Cathay 407 flight of 2 is 9 nautical miles northwest of Batam Hang at 4,000 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi. North Star 002 November Victor, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. United 081 India November Heavy, turn right heading 030. Singapore 965, turn left heading 360. Turn right heading 070, Atara 1603 Heavy. Singapore 0988 Heavy is 18 nautical miles west of Karaman at 11,000 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi. Singapore 066 Sierra Quebec Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 center at Singapore Changi. Roger, Singapore 066 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Cathay 635, turn right heading 220. Roger, Akasa Air 166 Quebec Papa. Turn right heading 220, Cathay 635. Turn right heading 280, Singapore 313 Heavy.
Turn right heading 220, Singapore 3359 Zulu Heavy.
Turn right heading 030, descend and maintain 8000, Indonesia 763. Turn left heading 230, maintain 5000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 center, Singapore 066 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Delta 8919 Heavy is 27 nautical miles southwest of Kluang at 24,800 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee is 5 nautical miles northeast of Karaman at 23,900 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Turn right heading 270, Cathay 635. United 29, turn right heading 010, descend and maintain 8000.
Turn left heading 270, Singapore 932 Heavy.
Singapore 932 Heavy, turn left heading 260. Turn right heading 010, descend and maintain 8000, United 29.
Turn left heading 260, Singapore 932 Heavy.
Singapore 509 Heavy, maintain 160 knots until 4-mile final. Singapore 066 Sierra Quebec Heavy, maintain 160 knots until 4-mile final. Maintain 160 knots until 4-mile final, Singapore 509 Heavy. Singapore 0988 Heavy is 8 nautical miles northwest of Karaman at 10,900 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, turn left heading 060, descend and maintain 5000. Turn left heading 060, descend and maintain 5000, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. United 081 India November Heavy, turn left heading 260, descend and maintain 5000. Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Singapore 066 Sierra Quebec Heavy. Singapore 3359 Zulu Heavy, turn right heading 280. Turn left heading 260, descend and maintain 5000, United 081 India November Heavy. Turn right heading 080, descend and maintain 5000, Singapore 0988 Heavy. Cathay 4228 Heavy, turn right heading 240. Executing missed approach, Moonflower 01. New Zealand 284 Heavy, turn left heading 320. Turn left heading 320, New Zealand 284 Heavy. Singapore 313 Heavy, turn left heading 310. Turn left heading 310, Singapore 313 Heavy. Singapore 932 Heavy, turn left heading 190.
Turn left heading 190, Singapore 932 Heavy.
Moonflower 01, execute missed approach, turn left heading 050, descend and maintain 4000. Cathay 407 flight of 2, turn right heading 070, climb and maintain 5000. United 081 India November Heavy, turn left heading 260, descend and maintain 5000. New Zealand 284 Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 center at Singapore Changi. Roger, New Zealand 28. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, turn left heading. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor. Contacting Singapore approach on 120.3, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Singapore 0988 Heavy. Singapore approach, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, with you at 16,000.
Singapore 481 Heavy is 13 nautical miles east of Karaman at 13,100 feet.
Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, turn left heading 340, descend and maintain 4000. Singapore 481 Heavy. Turn left heading 340, descend and maintain 4000, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. Reduce speed to 200 knots, Singapore 0988 Heavy. Singapore 08, turn right heading 110, descend and maintain 3000.
Turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee.
Singapore 08, reduce speed to 180 knots. Kabubber 26 Charlie Victor, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Reduce speed to 180 knots, Singapore 08. Contacting Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Roger, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. German Cargo 009 Heavy, descend and maintain 4000. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, reduce speed to 200. Reduce speed to 200 knots, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Singapore 290 Heavy, descend and maintain 4000. China Southern 708 Victor Golf, descend and maintain 3000. Descend and maintain 3000, China Southern 708 Victor Golf. Pakistan 742 Heavy, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Swiss 176, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 1. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, turn right heading 020, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Turn right heading 170, maintain 3000. Maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right, Singapore 08. Singapore approach, United 77 Super, with you at 13,500. Singapore approach, Hawaiian 6969 Super, with you at 22,000. Singapore 0988 Heavy, turn left heading 020. Turn left heading 020. Singapore 0988 Heavy. United 77 Super, requesting descent via Lely 3 Bravo arrival. Polita 877, turn right heading 120. Turn right heading 120, Polita 877. China Southern 708 Victor Golf, turn right heading 060.
Singapore approach, Singapore 128, with you at 19,000.
India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie, turn right heading 090, descend and maintain 3000. Turn right heading 060, China Southern 708 Victor Golf. Turn right heading 090, descend and maintain 3000, India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie. Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6.
Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee. Thank you. Good day, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee. Singapore 128 is 23 nautical miles southwest of Karaman at 19,000 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi.
Singapore 511, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Palita 877, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. Turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right, Palita 877. Delta 8919 heavy, reduce speed to 200 knots.
Reduce speed to 200 knots, Delta 8919 heavy.
Reduce speed to 200 knots, German cargo 009 heavy. Singapore 08, turn left heading 190. United 77 Super, requesting descent to 5000. Palita 877, turn right heading 220, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie, turn right heading 120. Turn right heading 220, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right, Palita 877. Singapore 481 heavy, reduce speed to 180 knots. Singapore 0988 heavy, reduce speed to 180 knots.
Reduce speed to 180 knots, Singapore 481 heavy.
United 77 Super, descend and maintain 5000. Descend and maintain 5000, United 77 Super.
Descend and maintain 5000, Singapore 128.
Turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right, China Southern 708 Victor Golf. Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, China Southern 708 Victor Golf. Singapore 481 heavy, turn left heading 010. Singapore 0988 heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Turn left heading 020, United 77 Super. Palita 877, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Singapore 290 heavy, turn right heading 120.
Sky Dubai 544 is 29 nautical miles southwest of Kluang at 29,400 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi.
Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Palita 877. Turn right heading 120, Singapore 290 heavy. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, turn right heading 080, descend and maintain 3000. Singapore 290 heavy, descend and maintain 3000. Descend and maintain 3000, Singapore 290 heavy.
Turn right heading 080, descend and maintain 3000, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. Singapore approach, United 77 Super, with you at 7200. United 77 Super, reduce speed to 200 knots. Singapore 096 is 25 nautical miles north of Karaman at 30,800 feet, requesting ILS approach any runway at Singapore Changi. China Southern 708 Victor Golf, turn right heading 220, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie, maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final.
Turn right heading 110, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
Pakistan 742 heavy, execute missed approach, turn right heading 340, climb and maintain 4000.
Executing missed approach, turn right heading 340, climb and maintain 4000, Pakistan 742 heavy.
Singapore 128, reduce speed to 200 knots. Turn left heading 020, German cargo 009 heavy. Singapore 290 heavy, turn right head. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra. Turn right heading 100, descend and maintain 3000, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Singapore 290 heavy. Singapore 0988 heavy, descend and maintain 4000. Descend and maintain 4000, Singapore 0988 heavy. United 77 Super, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, turn right heading 140, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee.
Executing missed approach, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee.
Roger, Delta 8919 heavy. India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Singapore approach, Vietnam Airlines 1 heavy, with you at 17,900. Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie. Thank you, good day, India Foxtrot Alpha Tango Charlie. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, increase speed to 180 knots.
Increase speed to 180 knots, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee, execute missed approach, turn right heading 350, climb and maintain 4000. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. Turn right heading 050, Singapore 481 heavy. Pakistan 742 heavy, turn right heading 020.
Executing missed approach, turn right heading 350, climb and maintain 4000, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee.
Singapore 128, turn right heading 020. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach.
Turn right heading 170, maintain.
Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, turn right heading 17. Turn right heading 1. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo. Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. United 77 Super, descend and maintain 4000. Descend and maintain 4000, United 77 Super. Singapore 23, emergency fuel, 14 minutes remaining. Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee, reduce speed to 200 knots.
Reduce speed to 200 knots, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee.
Singapore 096, contact Singapore arrival on 119.3. Singapore 172 Foxtrot Juliet, turn right heading 150, descend and maintain 4000. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Turn right heading 170, climb and maintain 3000. I'm sorry, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Turn right heading 100, descend and maintain 3000, Singapore 0988 heavy. Singapore 290 heavy, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6. Hotel Alpha Sierra Alpha November is 29 nautical miles southwest of Kluang at 14,900 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, contact Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6.
Contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
Singapore 128, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. German Cargo 009 Heavy, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee, turn right heading 020. Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee, reduce speed to 180 knots. Singapore 128, reduce speed to 200 knots.
Reduce speed to 180 knots, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee. Reduce speed to 200 knots. Singapore 128.
Singapore 481 heavy, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach.
Maintain 180 knots until 6 mile final. Singapore 481 heavy.
Singapore 23 is 4 nautical miles northwest of Karaman at 26,800 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 center at Singapore Changi. Singapore approach, Swiss 176, with you at 20,400.
I'm sorry, Papa Kilo Romeo Echo Yankee.
Singapore approach, Polita 877, with you at 3,100. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, maintain 170 knots until 5 mile final, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Hotel Alpha Sierra Alpha November, turn left heading 110, descend and maintain 4000. Turn left heading 110, descend and maintain 4000, Hotel Alpha Sierra Alpha November. Singapore 0988 heavy, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. November 1145 Bravo is 28 nautical miles southwest of Kluang at 27,300 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right, Singapore 0988 heavy. Singapore 600 Sierra Papa Heavy is 19 nautical miles southwest of Batam Hang at 12,400 feet, requesting ILS approach runway 20 right at Singapore Changi. Singapore 21 Foxtrot Alpha Super is 8 nautical miles southwest of Changi Air at 4,100 feet, requesting flight following to London Heathrow. United 77 Super, turn right heading 090. Turn right heading 090, United 77 Super. Turn right heading 020, Polita 877. Vietnam Airlines 1 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Nippon Cargo 5161 Heavy, contact Singapore approach on 124.6.
Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Nippon Cargo 5161 Heavy.
Sky Dubai 544, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Contacting Singapore approach on 124.6, Singapore 23. Victor Tango Kilo Uniform November, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. November 1145 Bravo, contact Singapore approach on 124.6. Delta 8919 Heavy, turn right heading 170, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 20 right approach. United 77 Super. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, contacting Singapore Changi Tower on 118.6, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, maintain slowest practical speed.
Wilco, Oscar Juliet Delta Lima.
Maintain slowest practical speed, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
Singapore Changi Tower, Cathay 635, inbound on the ILS runway 20 center with information Bravo. Bangkok Air 44, line up and wait runway 20 right. Line up and wait runway 20 right, Bangkok Air 44.
Singapore Changi Tower, Qantas 42 Whiskey, ready for departure at runway 20 center, departing south.
China Southern 592 Super, wind calm, runway 20 center, cleared for immediate takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 20 center, China Southern 592 Super. Singapore 290 Heavy, exit runway when able and contact ground, please expedite, traffic on final. Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo, wind calm, number 1, runway 20 right, cleared to land. Wilco, Singapore 290 Heavy. Singapore 290 Heavy, please expedite. Singapore 290 Heavy, please expedite. Singapore 290 Heavy, please expedite. Singapore 290 Heavy, please expedite.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 20 right, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, wind calm. Number 2, runway 20 right, clear. Number 2, cleared to land, runway 20 right, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Cathay 635, wind calm. Number 3, runway 20 center, cleared to land. Singapore 0988 Heavy, roger.
Number 3, cleared to land, runway 20 right, Singapore 481 Heavy.
Singapore 0988 Heavy, wind calm. Number 3, runway 20 right, cleared to land. Number 3, cleared to land, runway 20 center, Cathay 635. Singapore 2812 Heavy, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. Number 3, cleared to land, runway 20 right, Singapore 0988 Heavy. Wilco, Singapore 2812 Heavy.
Qantas 139, request frequency change.
Singapore 01 Super, line up and wait runway 20 center.
500.
China Southern 592 Super, frequency change approved, good day. Wilco, Singapore 2812 Heavy.
400.
Singapore 01 Super, wind calm, runway 20 center, cleared for immediate takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 20 center, Singapore 01 Super.
200.
Bangkok Air 44, frequency change approved, good day.
100.
Singapore Changi Tower, Singapore 234 Heavy,
50.
ready for departure in sequence
40.
at runway 20 center, remaining
30.
in the pattern.
20.
Singapore Changi
10.
Tower, Qantas 947, ready for departure at runway 20 right, departing straight out. Japan Air 3480, line up and wait. Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, exit runway when able and contact ground, please expedite, traffic on final. Frequency change approved Singapore 01 Super, good day. Wilco, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Japan Air 3480, wind calm, runway 20 right, cleared for immediate takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 20 right, Japan Air 3480. Skyflyer 2408 X-Ray Super, line up and wait runway 20 center. Skyflyer 2408 X-Ray Super, please expedite. Cathay 635, maintain slowest practical speed. Cathay 8535, maintain slowest practical speed, Cathay 635. Singapore 0988 Heavy, maintain slowest practical speed. Maintain slowest practical speed, Singapore 0988 Heavy. Singapore Changi Ground, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee, request taxi to parking. Singapore Changi Ground, Cathay 985 Heavy, ready for pushback with information Charlie. Singapore 2748, check ATIS frequency for airfield information.
Stand by, express.
Oscar Kilo Alpha. Taxi to parking, Oscar Kilo Alpha Victor Sierra Kilo Yankee. Cathay 985 Heavy, hold position. Holding position, Cathay 985 Heavy.
Taxiing to F58 via Whiskey, Victor, Victor Tango Uniform November Kilo.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 2748, ready for pushback with information Charlie.
Singapore Changi Ground, Victor Tango Alpha Delta India, ready for pushback with information Charlie, requesting runway 20 center.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 965, request taxi to parking. Singapore Changi Ground, Qantas 947, ready to taxi to runway 2 left with information Charlie. Singapore 965, taxi to parking, at your discretion. Taxi to parking, Singapore 965.
Singapore Changi Ground, Express India 695 Super, ready for pushback with information Charlie.
Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 2748, ready for pushback with information Charlie. Singapore 2748, hold position. Singapore Changi Ground, Singapore 481 Heavy, request taxi to A9 at the other terminals. Singapore 2748, hold position. Holding position, Singapore 2748. Victor Tango Alpha Delta India, hold position. Singapore 481 Heavy, taxi to A9 via Victor.
Taxiing to A9 via Victor, Singapore 481 Heavy.